Assalamualaikum and hi. Today, me, Uzai, and three of my friends, which is Nick Muhammad Hazim, Muhammad Ashraf, and Muhammad Akimi, will be present to you about effect of stress. So, we have divided effect of stress into four type of category. First of all, there's the effect of stress on student, and then there's the effect of stress on workplace, and the third one, there's the effect of stress on health, and finally, there's the effect of stress on body. So, four of us will be explained and will present to you. We will show you the graph that indicates the percentage of and the higher of stress among of these four things. Basically, what you all are going to see are the three type of graph that we apply to our presentation to make the viewer or reader to understand more about what we present. So there's a bar graph, pie charts, and line charts. So these three things is the three graph that we apply on our presentation. Effect of stress on student. There has been a survey of undergraduate students on their work and study commitments as their greatest source of stress. The survey polled 470 undergraduates at four autonomous universities that located at Singapore. What are the reasons behind stress among students? As you can see, I have listed 8 reasons why students tend to stress. First of all is the work-study commitment. Second is self-confidence. Third is career prospect after universities. And fourth, personal relationship. And fifth, responsibility. And sixth, financial situation. And seven, physical health. And finally, traumatic experience. Next, as you can see, what are on the screen is source of stress. So there's a 8 reason and there's also 8 percentage that display the level of stress. So as you can see here, this is a bar charts that indicate all the stress level or source of stress that students face. First of all, there's a work-study commitment, and second, self-confidence, and third, career prospect after universities, fourth, personal relationship, and fifth, responsibilities, and sixth, financial situation, seven, physical health, and finally, traumatic experience. So the high percentage is work and study commitment, and the least one is the traumatic experience. And then this infographic is by Samuel Wu. The findings indicate that undergraduates have a deep-seated and unhealthy obsession with their grades, as academic grades are seen as a means to a job after their university's education, the report note. The stress diminishes their joy of learning, with students focus on getting good grades and competing with their peers. So as you can see, this is the source from University of Network at Singapore. Okay, then we move on to the another reasons of stress among students. So here there's a responsibility. Not all students manage to bear their responsibility as a student or as someone they should be, for example, as a daughter or as a son. This will result burdens that will harm their emotion, thus making them feel stressed. You know, when it comes to student, it's not just becoming a student. It is also becoming a son or a daughter, and their responsibility is not also as a student, but also as a part of the family. What I mean is, when when we become a student, we would like to make our parent proud, right? Of course, we are. So by becoming a student, it really pressure them to be the best as their parent expected. You know, because every parent in this world expect their son or daughter to get a good grades, to be the number one in their school or universities. So when this target did not reach their level or did not reach their expectation, students tend to stress because they can fulfill what their parents need. So responsibility also is the reason why most of students stress. And then there's also financial situation. Many students face financial challenge, including tuition fees, living expense, and student loan debt. Financial worries can contribute to stress. So this is the real reason or main reason why a student tend to stress. It is because of financial. In order to success or in order to what we call to get through a study life without any problem, all we need is a money, because money play an important role in student. Becoming a student, we need to expense a lot of money. We need to spend a lot of money. For example, for our studies, for example, for our food. So when we have a financial problem, it will create stress among students because money is everything in student. In order to survive in study, we really need money. Even if we go to study, we need to pay for the study, right? So money play an important role. And then there's also a physical health. A good physical health play an important role for student. As we may know, student needs to be active because life of a student require a lot of energy to get through a day. With a poor condition of physical health, their activity will be limited. So becoming a student really need a lot of energy, really need a good physical to get through a day. With a poor condition of physical, it really make their activities to be limited, and it will make them to stay, for example, like in their house for whole day without doing their activities. And it is also will affect their time on studies because in order to study you need a lot of energy, you need a lot of what we say a good physical to focus on study. With the poor condition, it will distract your mind from study, from focus to study. So this will make them to sleep and not study, and also create a stress. And then there's a traumatic experience. A traumatic experience can be described as past issue that harm the student emotion. Most common traumatic experience as a student could face are death of someone they love, for example, their parent, or even getting abused, for instance, bully. Traumatic experience is the least percentage, uh, like I mentioned earlier on the bar charts. So not all students having these difficulties or having this issue when become a student. But there are still a lot of students out there who face a traumatic experience that create the traumatic moment in their mind that will make the stress when they think about it. For example, they reminiscence about they getting bullied, or they miss their parent who died. So with this traumatic experience, it will create something in their mind that is not true, which may result their stress level increase. So then we move on to the next charts, which is line charts. As you can see, I have displayed the line charts that indicating the stress level among students. And also I have listed what Mr. Edwin Tong, which was the second Minister for Law of Singapore, say. Okay, so I will read it to you in the article. I pick it from the article. In his opening address, Mrs. Tong talked about the prevalence of a hustle culture among youth today. Hustle culture is where you strive to get the best job, get the best outcome, get the best rates, and everything has to be the best. I think if you go downstream to a younger adult, you can understand why early sign of stress start at the age 14. So Mr. Tong said that becoming a student, all students think is to be the best as possible. When they think to be the best as possible, and when they want to be the best as possible, did not becoming a reality or did not become a true, they will stress because it is really broke the heart of student when their grades or CGPA down, when their expectation didn't reach. So in order to success, in order to becoming a good student, all we need is a good grades. All we need is to be top. So as you can see here, there's a average 7.6, with 30% of higher stress level at the source inter-university network. And finally, there's a pie chart, but this one is a little bit different because this one is from different article. So for the stress level of student, I've made a research on two articles. First of all is effect of stress on the university student, and there's effect of stress on the high school student. So this one is the effect of stress on high school student at Ghana. So as you can see, the pie charts display social activities with the 49% is no and the 51% is yes. What is no and the yes? So I will read it to you. The pie charts figure 3 shows response of whether social activities are a source of stress among senior high students. 51% of the respondent indicates that social activities are source of stress to them, while 59% of the respondents assert that social activities are not source of stress to them. Okay, what is social activities? When it comes to social activities, it's kind of relate to the like I mentioned earlier, confidence. So there's a lot of students at Ghana high school have a problem with social activities. That mean they have lack of self-confidence. So what does example of social activities? So as you can see here are large social gathering, event with large crowds such as parties, wedding, or reference can be overwhelming for some individual, leading to social anxiety or stress. So when we get a lack of self-confidence, we tend to feel anxiety, we tend to feel stress. So this thing happen in Ghana at their high school. Most of the students there uh, have lack of self-confidence to get through a day. That is why this pie chart shows that there's a 49% of students right there have issues with their self-confidence. That's kind of a lot of percentage to be honest, because self-confidence is not something that we should see with the one eye only, because not all many students have a good confidence to talk in front of people. So this really need to be pay attention to the teachers or to their teachers to teach their student, to make their student get more confidence, to boost their confidence, to become better, and to avoid them to become stressed.
Next is workplace stress. Type job stress can be defined as the harmful physical and emotional response that occur when the requirements of the job do not match the capabilities, resources, or need of the workers. Job stress can be lead to poor health and even injury. Okay, next slide we can see the bar chart. The bar chart is about a most common health effect caused by workplace stress. Okay, many individuals who experience stress in the workplace must learn to cope both at work and in their personal life. Most time, workplace stress will be bled over the professional line and begin to impact not only mental health but employees' personal relationship and habit. The following statistic we have compiled show just exactly how significantly workplace stress impact employees outside of work. First point is in 2020, 76% of US workers said that workplace stress affected their personal relationship. For example, over 20% of workers spend more than 5 hours of office, office time weekly thinking about their stressor and their worries. And second point is 85% of respondents agree that their workplace stress affect their mental health. For example, nearly 83% of respondents felt emotionally drained from their work, with over 40% stating that they strongly agree with this statement. For the last point is both men and women handle workplace stress by consuming more caffeine, 31%, smoking for 27%, and exercising more frequently, about 25%. Okay, next slide. Next slide, we can see the pie chart. This pie chart is about workplace stress by age. Workplace stress by age can affect individuals of all age, but the cause and manifestation of stress may vary depending on a person's age and career stage. Here a general overview of how workplace stress can impact different age groups. First is younger workers, aged between 15 to 20 years old. Younger workers may experience stress due to job insecurity, temporary position, or the need to consistently prove themselves in their early careers. They may be pressured to meet high expectations, especially in competitive industry or when start a new job. The next one is mid-career workers, aged between 30 to 49 years. Mid-career professionals may experience stress related to career advancement, promoting, and job stability. Balancing career with family responsibilities such as raising children or caregiving for aging parents can be significant source of stress. The last one is older workers that age 15 years above. Older workers may experience stress related to age discrimination or concern about job security as they approach retirement age. Health-related stressors such as dealing with chronic health issues can become more prevalent as worker age. American aged 13 to 49 are the most stressed age group, with 60% reporting high workplace stress. America aged 15 to 29 are right behind them with 64%, while 44% of people older than 50 report feeling stressed out. First is younger workers, aged between 15 to 20 years old. Younger workers may experience stress due to job insecurity, temporary position, or the need to consistently prove themselves in their early careers. They may be pressured to meet high expectations, especially in competitive industry or when start a new job. The next one is mid-career workers, aged between 30 to 49 years. Mid-career professionals may experience stress related to career advancement, promoting, and job stability. Balancing career with family responsibilities such as raising children or caregiving for aging parents can be significant source of stress. The last one is older workers that age 15 years above. Older workers may experience stress related to age discrimination or concern about job security as they approach retirement age. Health-related stressors such as dealing with chronic health issues can become more prevalent as worker age. American aged 13 to 49 are the most stressed age group, with 60% reporting high workplace stress. America aged 15 to 29 are right behind them with 64%, while 44% of people older than 50 report feeling stressed out. Okay, next slide, we can see the line chart that represent about a cause of workplace stress. We can see there are 4 points in this chart. The first one is workload that have 39% of employed who say it cause stress. Under the workload, we can see work-life imbalance that have 31% of employer who say it cause stress. Next is interpersonal issue that have 19%, and the last one is job security that have 6% of employer who say it cause stress. Okay, workload. Workload, excessive tasks, tight deadline, and unrealistic expectation can lead to stress. Next, work-life imbalance. Work-life imbalance, struggling to balance work and personal life responsibilities can lead to chronic stress. The third one is interpersonal issue. Interpersonal issue, disagreement, conflict with colleagues or supervisors, and workplace bullying can be source of stress. And the last one is job security. Job security, fear of layoff, downsizing, or job instability can cause significant stress. Okay, next slide is conclusion about workplace stress. Workplace stress is a multifaceted issue with wide-ranging consequences for individuals and organizations. Addressing workplace stress requires of collaborative effort with employers, and management working together to create a healthier and more supportive work environment. By reorganizing the sign of stress, implementing stress reduction strategies, and fostering a culture of well-being, organization can mitigate workplace stress and promote the physical and mental health of their employment. Thank you.
For the next is stress on health. Stress in the context of health can be defined as the body's physiology and physiological response to any demand or challenge placed on it. This response is designed to help individuals cope with various situations, but with stress become chronic or overwhelming, it can have negative effect on physical and mental health. In simpler terms, stress on health refers to the impact of stressor, stress including factor or event, on an individual's well-being. These stressors can be external, such as work pressure, financial difficulties, or relationship problem, or they can be internal, such as anxiety or worry. When the body and mind are subject to prolonged or intense stress, it can lead to a range of physical and mental health issues, as outlined in the previous response. For the introduced information on how many people in the UK population as a whole are affected by stress is very limited. However, our new survey found that over past year, almost 3/4, 74% of people have at some point felt so stressed that felt overwhelmed or unable to cope. The survey, commissioned by the Mental Health Foundation and overtaken by YouGov, polled at 4,169 adults in the UK in 2018. The stress study had a sample size of 4,916 respondents. Another recent poll concurs with this finding, with 82% of people feeling stressed at least sometime during a typical week, and 8% that feel stressed all the time. One area of stress this is frequently researched is self-reports, work-related stress. The number of people experience work-related stress, as well as mental health problems such as anxiety, depression in the UK, had remained broadly stable since 2006 and 2007, but nevertheless persistent. Around 500,000 people are experiencing work-related stress in the UK. The literature on stress at work suggests several models of stress in the workplace. One model posits that a lack of balance. Why? The eating too much have biggest percent in behavior because they talk, comfort, and distraction. Many people turn to food for comfort when they are stressed. Eating can provide a temporary distraction from stressor and can offer a sense of emotional comfort or pleasure. For the next is, they also craving for high-calorie foods. Stress can trigger craving for high-calorie, sugary or fatty foods. Those foods can temporarily stimulate the brain's reward center and provide a sense of pleasure or satisfaction. And hormones change. Stress triggers the release of stress hormones such as cortisol. This hormone can influence appetite and food choice. Some individuals may find that stress disrupt their normal eating pattern and lead to increased hunger. Why smoking have 70.6%? Because they thought cigarette as a stress relief. Many people turn to smoking as a way to cope with stress. Nicotine, a chemical found in cigarette, can have a calming effect on the brain and body. When people are stressed, they may smoke to reduce their feeling of anxiety or tension. Next is habitual response. Smoking is often a habitual behavior and stress can trigger to urge the smoke out of habit. When people are stressed, they may automatically reach for a cigarette because it has become a conditioned response to stress. Then, physiological craving. Stress can also increase the physiological craving for cigarette. People may associate smoking with stress relief, so when they are stressed, they may experience a strong desire to smoking. With drinking have 31%. Why? Because self-medication. Some people use alcohol as a form of self-medication to cope with emotional distress. They may drink to numb emotional pain or to escape from the thought and feeling associated with stress. Then, stress relief. Many individuals turn to alcohol as a way to temporarily alleviate the symptom of stress. Alcohol can have a depressant effect on the central nervous system, which may produce feeling of relaxation and relief from the stress and anxiety. Next is biological factors. Stress can affect the brain's chemistry, lead to change in neurotransmitters and hormones. Some individuals may find that alcohol helps that modulate this change temporarily, which can contribute to a desire to drink when stressed. Stress also can affect people on psychological, which is they may feel depressed, anxious, self-harm, trying suicidal, and loneliness. The highest percentage in the UK is anxious, which is 61%, then followed by depressed, and then feeling lonely and trying to suicidal, and lastly they may self-harm. Why depressed has 51%? Because chemical imbalance. Chronic stress can lead to imbalance in the brain's neurotransmitter, including serotonin and dopamine, which play key role in mood regulation. This imbalance can increase the risk of depressive symptoms. Then, hormone change. Stress triggers the release of stress hormones such as cortisol. Prolonged exposure to elevated cortisol level can disrupt the brain's neurochemistry and contribute to mood disorder like depression. And negative thinking pattern. Stress often involves negative thinking patterns such as rumination, like repetitive, intrusive talk about problem, and catastrophizing, assuming the worst will happen. This thought pattern can worsen depressive symptom or contribute to the development of depression. The next is the highest percentage that psychological effects by stress is anxiety. Why anxiety have highest percentage? Because they heighten arousal. Stress trigger the body fight or flight response. Releasing stress hormone like cortisol and adrenaline, the psychological response can lead to increased heart rate, rapid breathing, muscle tension, and a heightened state of alertness, all of which are common symptoms of anxiety. And then they also worry and rumination. Stressful situation often give rise to excessive worry and rumination. People may repeatedly think about the stressor, potential negative outcome, and worst case scenario, which are characteristic features of anxiety disorder. And next is difficulty relaxing. Chronic stress can make it challenging for individuals to relax and switch off their anxiety. This outgoing state of heightened arousal can contribute to the development of generalized anxiety disorder (GAD) or exacerbate symptom in individuals with pre-existing anxiety disorders. And the next is we talk about the lowest percentage of physiological is self-harm. Why? Because emotional distress, stress, anxiety, depression, and other emotional struggle can lead to intense emotional pain or inner turmoil. Some individuals resort to self-harm as a way to exercise and release this emotional pain. And then emotional regulation. For some, self-harm provide a temporary sense of relief or distraction from emotional distress. The physical pain caused by self-harm can briefly overshadow emotional pain, offering a sense of control or emotional regulation. And then is coping mechanism. Self-harm can serve as a maladaptive coping mechanism. When individuals feel overwhelmed by their emotion or stressor, they may turn to self-harm as a way to cope with numb those feelings. Trying to suicidal, which is recorded to 32%. Why trying to suicidal have 32%? Because emotional overwhelm, chronic stress can lead to intense emotional distress and a feeling of being overwhelmed. This emotional pain can become so severe that individual may contemplate suicide as a way to escape their suffering. And then they also feel hopelessness. Prolonged stress can override an individual's sense of hope. When people feel that their stressors are insurmountable and that their circumstances will never improve, they may perceive suicide as the only option to end their suffering. Then is isolation. Isolation is stress can lead to social withdrawal, making individuals feel more isolated and disconnected from their support system. This isolation can exacerbate feeling of hopelessness and increase the risk of suicidal thoughts. And the last one is feeling lonely, which is recorded 37%. Why? Because emotional distress. Loneliness often leads to feeling of sadness, emptiness, and emotional pain. This emotion can be stressful in themselves and can also exacerbate existing stresses. And then is negative self-perception. Loneliness can lead to negative self-perception and beliefs such as feeling unlovable or socially inadequate. This negative thought can contribute to stress and anxiety. And the last one is rumination. Lonely individuals may engage in rumination, which involve repetitive and negative thinking about their loneliness and social isolation. Rumination can increase stress and exacerbate feeling of loneliness. For the causes that bring us to stress, they have 5 causes, which is the first one is compare themselves, and the second is friend, then the third one is body image and depth, and last one is pressure to success. Why compare themselves have highest percentage? Because inadequacy and low self-esteem. When individuals compare themselves unfavorable to others, they may feel inadequate or lacking in some way. This negative self-perception can lead to low self-esteem and self-doubt, which can be source of stress. And then is unrealistic expectation. Comparison often involve unrealistic expectation as people tend to showcase their success and positive aspect of their life. Unrealistic expectation can lead to stress when individuals feel pressure to meet these standards. And the last one is perceived competition. Constantly comparing oneself to others can create a sense of competition, even when it's not necessary or healthy. This perceived competition can lead to stress as individuals strive to outdo others or fear falling behind. And the next is we're gonna talk about friends. For friends have 3 causes, which is conflict and stress, toxic relationship, and social comparison. Why conflict and stress can affect? Sometimes friendship can be source of stress when there is conflict or strain in the relationship. Disagreements, misunderstanding, or betrayals by friends can be lead to emotional distress. Toxic friendship. Toxic friendship characterized by manipulation, emotional abuse, or unhealthy behavior can be extremely detrimental to mental health and increase stress. And social comparison. Constantly comparing oneself to friends also bring us further stress.
Okay, next I want to explain about effect stress on body. Stress can have a wide range of effect on the body, but in the short term and the long term, when you encounter a stressful situation, your body goes through a series of physiological response as part of the fight or flight stress response. The responses are intended to help you deal with immediate threat, but chronic stress or prolonged exposure to stressor can have detrimental effect on your health. Here are some of the effects of stress on the body. First, physical health effect. For the example, respiratory system, and 2, physical health effect. For the example, sleep problem, anxiety and depression. For respiratory system, stress can exacerbate respiratory conditions like asthma and may lead to rapid shallow breathing. For the sleep problem, stress can lead to sleep disturbance, including insomnia or excessive sleepiness. For the anxiety and depression, chronic stress is a significant risk factor for the development or worsening of anxiety and depression. And next we can see about pie graph, and the pie graph about how often do you as adults struggle to fall asleep in 2022. How frequent is insomnia? Does it often recur? Our findings show that as many as 1 in 5 adults in the USA, 22% struggle to fall asleep every single night. And next, on top of that, more than a third of US adults struggle to fall asleep at least once a week. 36%. Half of US adults experience insomnia once a month or more. 15%, and 43% of adults in the US do not experience insomnia. Okay, for the next graph, we can see which areas of the US have the highest insomnia rate. Okay, different regions experience different challenges when it comes to weather, city life, and stress. In this case, those locations also affect rate of insomnia. To answer this, we categorize our survey responded into 4 regions of the US: Midwest, Northeast, South, and West. We found that people are more restful in the Midwest than in any other region, with just under half answering that they never have trouble sleeping, 49%, and the Midwest is also the least likely region to experience insomnia every night, with 90% saying that they struggle to fall asleep nightly, and 3% under the US average. And adults in the south of the US are the most likely to struggle to fall asleep every night in 24%, closely followed by the Northeast 23%. And surprisingly, the most likely region to suffer from insomnia is the West, with the massive 59% of adults answering that they have trouble sleeping sometimes. The West is also the region with the least light pollution in the USA. For the next paragraph, we can see insomnia going into 2023. Or sleep problem getting better or worse? To find out how the prevalence of sleep problem is changing over time around the world, we use the tool Google Trend to analyze searches made for the term insomnia symptom, which found that for the first, the phrase insomnia symptom was looked up on Google more time in 2022 than any other years between 2017 and 2022. For the next, online searches for this phrase tend to peak each year at the beginning of January, and as you can see from the graph below, searches related to insomnia symptom have increased year on year over the last 5 years worldwide. So if this trend continue, we do not expect them to increase yet again in 2023.